We're not managing that stress on a go-forward basis. How does that lead us to the down spiral that we were talking about at the beginning of this session? Well, the down spiral works this way. Remember we said that as far as how stress gets triggered, it is in the negative thought process, in the I don't like this thought. And many of you will be familiar with the whole, let's take an example. Let's run this through an example. Let's say you're on the phone with a coworker. Say you're having a heated conversation and it's not going well. You're going back and forth in that conversation and they're getting kind of rude and you're kind of giving it back to them and it's getting tense and it's going back and forth and you're kind of feeling off and emotional and offended and you jam the phone down and what do? You stew a little, don't you? You think about it a little bit, right? Who does that Becky think she is? She can't talk to me like that. Where does she get off, right? And maybe you go over to some coworkers and say, you know what Becky said to me? And you say, oh yeah, Becky, we don't like Becky at all, do we? And you stir the pot a little bit. And boom, right, goes that stress response. It is your body's hardwired response to I don't like this. So many of us will be familiar with that shot of adrenaline that gets tossed out. It's your body's natural response to stress. It's your fight or flight response. It's your stress response. So that little shot of adrenaline gets tossed out, and it is at that moment that your thinking goes from easygoing, get along you to emotional you, right? And this is the person who says the really inappropriate, dumb things in the heat of an argument that you shouldn't say. We've all been there, right? Okay, so it's at this point that stress goes from something that we created in our mind to something that now starts to impact our body. Because that shot of adrenaline increases the heart rate and your pupils dilate and your blood starts to pound. It's your fight or flight response, right? It ramps you up. And this is where all the body damage is done from stress, high blood pressure, etc. Now here's something interesting. After about 5 or 10 minutes of being in this stress response, our body says, hold on a second. Like, I don't want to feel this way. My heart's pounding, my pupils are dilating. I got to calm down. And so what your body does is it releases a counter shot to the shot of adrenaline. That counter shot is a shot of what we call serotonin. Now the best way to think about serotonin is it's like your body's natural good mood fluid, that when you have high levels of serotonin in your brain and body, it kind of helps you to see the glass more as half full, right? You feel more up, you feel more optimistic, you make better connections. When you start to deplete your serotonin levels, it's quite the opposite. You start to see the glass more as half empty, you feel more anxiety, you feel more off, you feel more disconnected. Now here is a very, very key part of the process, because many of us are getting ourselves caught right here in the down spiral. Let's say it is just the pace of life. Had a chance to chat with a lot of you good folks before the session started, and many of you said, wow, we got a lot going on, we're busy with family, etc. Sometimes it's just the pace of life. Boom, boom, boom. Stress comes, body tries to release serotonin to help you out. Sometimes maybe you're dealing with a couple of huge files that have really kind of made the stress come, burn up serotonin. When you are in that stress cycle for too long, without a break, without a chance for these levels to recover, eventually you start to deplete your serotonin levels faster than your body can make it. So when you start to literally burn out your serotonin levels and your mood starts to slide, well, when you're in a lousy mood and you go back to, say, an office setting where a situation comes up and Becky comes around, right, and needs a hand with something, well, when you're in a lousy mood, how are you likely to respond to Becky? Are you going to be warm and caring and fuzzy? Probably not, right? You'll probably look at Becky like this when she comes by. On a really bad day, maybe even something like this, right? Because you're cranky, you're angry. You don't like Becky that much. Can you start to see how the down spiral starts? What may have been a lot of stressful situations here, eventually when it goes too long, stress really is mind and body. It starts to deplete the body side and the good mood fluid. You get grouchy and cranky, and it makes it that much more easy to see the next situation that comes along, see the negatives of it, see the complaints of it, and you start to get caught. Does that make sense, guys, what I'm talking about here? Okay. And the thing is, the longer that you leave a cycle like this, man, it has the potential to pull you lower and lower. As those serotonin levels start to get depleted, it starts to pull your mood and your thinking lower and lower until sometimes you end up dealing with big-time mood issues, anxiety, depression, all very, very related to those low serotonin levels.